Greetings to each and all, be you veterans of the Gnostic Way or parvenus. This is that Gnostic teacher on the internet, JLL, and I'm coming to you today, the 14th of August, with a brief solo message for the purpose of making an announcement and giving you a little preview of the shape of things to come. Today, which falls in the year 2018 by common reckoning, I should mention that fact, I'm opening a new facet in my career of teaching on the internet. As some of you may know, I am a self-educated scholar and a self-proclaimed teacher, which is to say I don't have any letters after my name. I don't have any degrees or official signs of legitimacy. I said many years ago that if I were a college professor, I would obviously be teaching in a university. I would be on a campus, and I would be perhaps lecturing in an auditorium to a student body. But as it happens, as fate would have it, my student body is the world at large, or at least those who select themselves into the audience. So I don't teach at a university. I teach upon the stage of the world. I do that through writings, books, websites, and many recorded talks and interviews and solo performances on the internet. Now, right now, I stand at a turning point in my career as a teacher. Hence the purpose or the occasion for the announcement that I'm making here. First and foremost, I want you to know that the recording you're hearing right now has also been uploaded on another channel. It appears simultaneously on the YouTube channel Mandela Effect Decoded and on the channel John Lamb Lash. Doing so, I'm inaugurating a new approach, a new outreach. So I'd like to explain clearly and briefly how this outreach works and why I have chosen to take this new course of action in bringing my message or my work to the world. For well over a year now, I've been working with a small team of student friends and collaborators to put together an entity called NEMETA, the Sophianic School of Arts and Sciences. Now, as I emphasize in the welcome message to NEMETA, which goes online next month, September 2018, this is not an online university. It is the online portal to an in-life event, to an in-life educational program, in which the participants are both students and teachers. All participants in NEMETA will be, in effect, student teachers. One of the rules of planetary Tantra is you teach what you are learning as you learn it. So what we've been doing to pull together this entity, this school, has been a massive task of organization. NEMETA will comprise practically the complete body of my work, going back to 2008, when I received the terma of Gaia Awakening, and going back well before that to pull in other work. After all, I've been teaching sidereal mythology and naked eye observation of the sky for going on 50 years now. And the material in NEMETA includes work that goes back pretty far, and also all the work that comes up to the current moment. Until now, this work that I produced, the content that I've created, to use the language of YouTube, has been pretty much scattered here and there around the internet, and it is to be found in different books and writings that have been published. Metahistory.org, for instance, is the main website that I created and developed from, what was it, June or July of 2002 onward. So over about 16 years, developed Metahistory, and it has on it the equivalent of something like 20 books at least. The problem with those who find my work has been the same problem that I myself have encountered. I don't really know where to look in this great mass of material when I want to find things. The idea of NEMETA is to organize this material in a user-friendly way. By its unique structure, NEMETA will present the material that is already familiar to some of you, as well as new material, ongoing work, and unpublished writings and unpublished talks. It will present all of that, the whole enchilada, within a structure of organized courses, carefully organized blocks of learning. For instance, there are 12 main courses in the School of Sophianic Arts and Sciences: Gaian Alchemy, Cosmology, Grail Studies, Gnosis Today, Metacritique, Living Myth, Poetic Craft, Kali Yuga, Biomysticism, Mythophrenia, Skywatching, Contraviolence. That's 12. And in addition to that, there are 3 vocations which require a long-term commitment of the student. They are Planetary Tantra, Celestics, the Gaian Navigation Experiment, and the GNE. As a matter of fact, that's 4, because one of those, Planetary Tantra, is that part of the NEMETA organization that is free to everyone. The rest of the courses and the material are available to students who wish to enroll in one course at a time as the lessons come out block by block. Living Myth 101, Mythophrenia 101, 102, and so forth. So that material is available for enrollment. You'll notice as I describe it that the material has been organized so that it is carefully dosed. If you want to delve into my work on cosmology, in particular the Sophianic narrative of the mysteries, as it stands right now, it's all over the place. And it's difficult to know where to look and difficult to navigate from one piece of material to the next. But in NEMETA, all that will be clarified and simplified. And for instance, there will be a block-by-block presentation of the material. So you would have Cosmology 101, consisting of 6 courses perhaps, Cosmology 102, consisting of perhaps 6 or 8 courses. And in these blocks, there will be included both spoken material and MP3 files and written material. So that's the general idea and the general concept of NEMETA and how it's set up. Something that I would emphasize to you that is particularly important to me is the part of NEMETA that is an open campus, where anyone can come and where anyone can learn without being an annual member. There's an annual membership for a fee, and then the various courses are available for an enrollment fee. But there is also an aspect of NEMETA that is, as I say, an open campus. And that is the category, or the great hall, you might say, of planetary Tantra. So I said many years ago that I would never charge for planetary Tantra, which is the package that I've created around the terma of Gaia Awakening. I stand by that commitment. I stand by that promise. So anyone who happens to come across NEMETA on the internet can go and learn planetary Tantra at no cost. Now, consistent with this program or presentation of free material side by side with material of access only to paying members or to enrollees, well, consistent with that approach, there are going to be, or there are in development, I have in development with my team, 2 mailing lists. One mailing list is the general mailing list to be sent out periodically, and this will announce events on NEMETA. It will announce other current events in my activities, whatever they might be, and it will always signal those on that list to any new material that may be available in the Great Hall of Planetary Tantra. On the other hand, there is a second list of members only, and that comprises those people who sign up for an annual membership. They have complete access to everything on NEMETA, to all the courses, all the classrooms. They will also have access to material or content that I upload on the channel John Lamb Lash. From here on out, that channel will be linked or coupled with the future activities of NEMETA. Do you see that? On the other hand, I'm going to keep Mandela Effect Decoded up and running for the purpose of presenting Radio Guyanese talks, as I've been doing for some time. So you'll be hearing more from Ginny and myself and other people who sit in at the Radio Guyanese studio, and that will come out exclusively on the Mandela Effect Decoded channel. Meanwhile, on the other channel, John Lamb Lash, the material that is accessible only to members will be, of course, published privately. It won't be for public access. And so members will then have the URL or the particular clue or code to access that material. Case in point, the current essay, which I am linking to this talk, you will find the text of this essay on metahistory.org. Just follow the link in the description. The title of it is In the Phainomorphic Field. It is a multiple-part essay, and what you see here is part 1, entitled The Body Mandala. Now, after the 18th of September, with the launch of NEMETA, this essay and the remaining 2 or 3 installments for its completion will be found on NEMETA, which is an entirely different site from metahistory.org. So I'm offering it temporarily on metahistory.org as a preview of things to come. When it appears on NEMETA, this set of essays will be in the category or classroom of Skywatching, which is the 11th classroom out of the 12. So the material that I'm offering you here in preview is actually the first part of an instructional manual on Skywatching. At the same time, it's much more than that. What does the title "In the Phainomorphic Field" indicate? Well, as the article explains, phainomorphic field is a term for the world event in which you are involved. The concept of a biofeedback loop between the human animal and the entire planet is basic to planetary Tantra. You might have come across that concept through the introduction I've made regarding the use of the Shakti Cluster app. Those demo talks belong to Planetary Tantra, so they're free. Anyone who is on the general mailing list, not the members list, will be informed of that material as it comes forth. So right now you're getting a glimpse of material that will only be available in the future to members of NEMETA or to those who enroll in a specific course. If you enroll in Block 1 of Skywatching, then you will have all of the units of this material entitled "In the Phainomorphic Field." So that's the picture. I want to say that I'm delighted and relieved to finally be able to organize my work in the way that I'm doing now with the help of my team. It makes an enormous difference to me that the work should survive as a legacy and be available in the future in a user-friendly way. So let's see, is there anything I've failed to mention here? To reiterate, in the future, you will find Radio Gynium talks uploaded on Mandela Effect Decoded. But on the John Lamb Lash YouTube channel, you will find talks, some talks for public access, but other talks that are exclusive to members and students who enroll in courses at NEMETA. And that's the shape of things to come. So there's my announcement. And having said that, I'll just take a few minutes to scan over the material in this preview essay on the phainomorphic field. Bear in mind that when this appears on NEMETA in the course of Skywatching, it will contain a more elaborate commentary, a more elaborate recorded commentary to go along with the text. Now, I won't cover all the paragraphs in this essay. I'll just touch on a few highlights. What I attempt to do here is to orient the layperson, the layman or laywoman, I don't know what they call them nowadays, what the correct terminology is, to orient you, who care and dare to be interested, to what's involved in looking at the sky, but also looking at the earth, looking at the ground. You stand on the ground and you look at the sky, and what do you see? Well, as this essay explains, there is a purpose for placing yourself in the body mandala so that you can look at the sky in the daytime and at nighttime and know exactly what you're looking at. And that purpose is to develop the realization that you are in a biofeedback loop with the cosmos, or what I call the world event. You'll notice in the language of this particular essay that I adopt generic terms, and if you use those generic terms provisionally as tools, you might find that they simplify the technical astronomical matters, which would be a great relief to many people, and at the same time, they allow you to, those terms allow you to give definition to the very great fact that you are in a massive biofeedback loop with the cosmos. Now, as you stand upon the earth, the cosmos basically, in the simplest, the most elementary terms, has two aspects. One is the ground level or ground environment, the local setting as I call it, and the other is the sky, which encompasses that setting and appears to you in the manner of a vast dome. So, there it is. Interactivity, or phenomorphosis, is something that happens between you and the terrestrial environment as well as the celestial environment. Okay? Both the terrestrial and celestial environments are given in what I call the world event. And so I developed these provisional ideas as simple tools, keeping them as simple as possible. You know, you don't even have to know if, or assume if the earth is round or if it is a disk or whatever shape it is. You don't have to assume anything. You don't even have to assume that it's a planet. We'll get to that later on. How did anyone ever arrive at the idea that we are on a planet in the first place? Have you ever asked that question? Well, this is a question to be explored in the course on Skywatching, available from the Sophianic School of Arts and Sciences. So that's about all I care to say. I would point out that I cite Sir John Woodruff, Shakti and Shakta. I want to emphasize that planetary tantra and autogenic magic are cognate with tantric physics, as I call it. That's Hindu tantra, not Buddhist tantra. And so I draw upon the language or the syntax of Hindu tantra for this course on Skywatching. And of course I draw upon that extensively in other places in my writings and talks, don't I? One of the key concepts in this first lesson is azimuth. Now, when you hear the word azimuth, you may shrink away in horror. It is most certainly a term of astronomy. It is most certainly a term included in the modeling of spherical trigonometry. And who wants to go there? I certainly don't. I don't know that much about spherical trigonometry, yet I present an image from spiritual trigonometry here in the first illustration for this essay. If I have succeeded in my aim to bring certain matters before you in a vivid way that speaks to your experience, and if I have succeeded in converting some of the off-putting concepts of spherical trigonometry into user-friendly language, then I will be happy and pleased, because that is my goal. So azimuth is a forbidding term if you consider it simply in the frigid realm of spherical trigonometry, but it becomes a term that is maybe familiar to you as the right and left sides of your body if you put yourself in the human stance. And that is the goal or objective or main exercise of this first essay. So I'm going to let it go at that. Read and enjoy. It's a glimpse of things to come. My final comment goes to a matter which is extremely intimate to me. It's a delicate matter, and I've not addressed it before at any time in my teaching career, but I'm doing so now because it comes up spontaneously in this essay. If you look at the subheading, generic syntax, you will see the first paragraph reads like this. In the Gorgias, that's a Platonic dialogue, Socrates advised that for an open dialogue, no one has to pretend to hold absolute definitions, nor do the participants need to assume that any term is definitive on special or preferential grounds. He distinguishes dialectic from rhetoric. This is in passage 455a of the Gorgias, which is a long and somewhat tedious dialogue. Quote, rhetoric, it seems, is a producer of persuasion for belief, not for instruction in the matter of right and wrong notions, which is the aim of dialectic. End quote. So technically, Socrates was a dialectician. He taught dialectics, which is the art of conversation, not to persuade, but to lead to instruction regarding right and wrong notions, regarding truth and error. Now that's pretty clear. I'd say that's crystal clear. If you ever wanted to know what Socrates was about, that's just about as good as it gets for a précis of his approach and his method. You might note, however, that rhetoric, which he deems to be an instrument of persuasion, getting people to believe this or that, is sharply distinguished from instruction, isn't it? Now, one of my leading pretenses is that I am a Gnostic teacher, the Gnostic teacher, preeminently. And as such, it's my role to give instruction. If that's the case, then why do I so often appear as if I am delivering rhetoric? You get that? Why do I so often come across in a non-Socratic style as if I were trying to persuade you of one thing or another? Why does that happen? Bear in mind that I'm not just asking you this question right now out of the blue. It's a question I've asked myself for some time now. I most certainly have. And to bring everyone up to speed on this point, just let me say this in conclusion. There may well be some instances in some cases when I slip into rhetorical expression and you hear me using language, syntax, concept, and reasoning with the aim of persuading you of something. But hold on, that's really not my style. Why would I come off as rhetorical when my primary intention, stated many times, is simply to instruct, keeping to the method of dialectic? Well, I'll tell you something. If you're around me personally, in the flesh, face to face, I don't come off persuasively at all, unless I have a particular reason that I want to persuade you to do something for me or with me. Or if I want to persuade you away from something, I can use persuasion. I can be persuasive. But in real life, person-to-person contact, which very few of you have ever had with me, I'm not rhetorical. The rhetorical spin that occurs in my expression, in my output, unfortunately, I would say, is due to the distancing between myself and you. It's not my style, and it puts me off my style to use this archonic medium just exactly as I am doing it now. Were you to meet me directly, you might be surprised, after listening to me on the internet, that I don't come across rhetorically. I'm not out to persuade anyone of anything. And that is a fact. And people who have met me, I would say, with confidence, can attest to that fact. So I'm asking you on this occasion, all of you, or any of you, who might consider granting me recognition as a teacher, for whatever benefit that act of recognition might bring to you, consider that distinction. And give me a break. It's something I've struggled with. And something that is probably inevitable, given the medium through which I am required to operate in the world today. So I'll leave it at that. I wish you all the best. I invite you to join the general mailing list. And by the 18th of September, if you choose to do so, to become a member and thereby be included on that special list, and the adventure goes on from there.